The scariest monsters are not supernatural, they are social systems. In 2017, director Jordan Peele used horror not to scare us with monsters, but to confront us with something far more real. What does racism look like today? Is it loud and obvious or quiet and polite? When we think of racism, we often imagine something direct, loud, violent. But what's unsettling is that racism doesn't always look like that. Sometimes it's subtle, polite, even disguised as admiration. At its core, racial discrimination is the unfair treatment of people based on their race or skin color. And although race itself is a social construct created to categorize people by physical appearance, it has historically been used to justify oppression. We have seen this throughout history: slavery in colonial America, segregation under the Jim Crow laws, the internment of Japanese Americans during World War II. And the disturbing part, it didn't simply disappear. Today, it appears in new forms: racial profiling, employment bias, and everyday microaggressions. So, if today is subtle, how do we recognize it? That's where the film Get Out comes in. Directed by Jordan Peele, Get Out isn't just a horror film, it is a psychological exploration of modern racism. The story follows Chris Washington, a young black photographer who visits his white girlfriend Rose's family for the weekend. At first, everything feels welcoming, almost too welcoming. But the repeated comments about his race, the unsettling behavior of the black servants, the tension that lingers in the house, slowly reveals that something far more disturbing lies beneath
Tim,
that
you call me
politeness.
Dean and
What begins
my man.
as a mild
How
social
are
discomfort
you, Brooke?
transforms into a horrifying revelation, one that exposes exploitation, loss of identity, and the hidden mechanisms of modern racial control.
Now let's talk about analysis of the movie. An early example appears when Chris and Rose hit a deer and a police officer asks Chris for his identification, even though he was not driving. This reflects racial profiling where black individual lives are automatically viewed with suspicion. Although Rose seems supportive, we later realize that she wanted to avoid documentation to hide evidence of Chris' presence, showing manipulation disguised as protection. The garden party scene further highlights subtle racism to microaggression. The guests treat Chris as an object of fascination, commenting on his physical abilities and genetics while invading his personal space. Through close up shots that isolate Chris, the film shows how racism can appear polite while still reducing individual to stereotypes. The tension also rises when Chris photographs another black guest, Andrean Logan King. The camera flies briefly, breaks Andrea's controlled behavior, causing him to panic and warn Chris to get out. This movement symbolizes suppressed identity resisting psychological control.
Towards the climax, Chris manages to escape hypnosis by stuffing cotton from the chair into his ears. Cotton, historically linked to slavery and forced labor, becomes the very tool that helps him survive. By reversing this symbolism, the film transforms an object of oppression into one of resistance. Overall, Get Out uses horror and symbolism to reveal how racial discrimination continues in subtle but dangerous ways.